AskReddit by violating badges. What? Due to experience, do you know not to fuck with? Water. Rivers. Current. I'm a fairly good swimmer, and I wanted to swim in a river where the current seemed really tame. Boy was I wrong, just small moving body of water dragged my poor body like a leaf in the wind. Do not go swimming in, or jumping over, the Strud. Hella undercurrents, several cope good ? IDK what it is in English but like water can't potholes in rocks, slippery round boulders at the top, etc. The river seems narrow and innocent, but it's basically a big flat river turned sideways. There's bubbles all throughout the water, so apparently you cannot float or come up as you aren't buoyant anymore. There's some cool YouTube videos about it. Paracetamol. In one of the dumbest moments of my life I misread 50 mg when it was 500 mg. Took far too much. Long story short, almost a week in hospital. For dumb folk like me, that's Tylenol. Please don't mess with aspirin either. I was in treatment for depression with people with severe suicidality, and had too many people I really care about swallow a bunch of pills. It was always a relief to find out it was Motrin. I am not a doctor though, and everyone is different. Please get help no matter what you swallow. This world needs you in it. Intuition. If something feels wrong, stop. It doesn't matter if it's stepping out onto a snow-covered slope, pulling up to a sketchy gas station, or putting too small of a piece of wood in a table router. Listen when your brain tells you this is a bad idea. I read an article that intuition is your subconscious brain picking up on cues that you are unaware of. After I read that article I pay more attention to it. Heat. Your sanity is the first thing to go in heat stroke. You aren't even aware anything is wrong. You just know you're pissed, there's a weird buzzing sensation in your head chest, and the world doesn't feel right. And then you're a zombie looking for anything to cool off with, and shortly after that, you're unconscious. It escalated too quickly for half a dozen rational adults to notice before exhaustion set in. Heat will kill you quicker than you think. When I had a heat stroke my brain felt like a baked potato, like it literally felt like hot tin was in my head. All I remember was trying to rub ice cubes on my head and get into the fridge before my date rushed me to the hospital. And I was feeling this way for over 2 HRS before I finally was taken in. If someone at work tries to badmouth someone else and they ask you about what you think about that person, just keep your mouth shut. Deleted. Not immediately washing and disinfecting an open wound. My mom knew a guy that had to have his leg chopped off because a cut got infected. It was insane. Chop. The infection kept coming. Chop some more. He survived, but he lost a leg. Spent a long time in the hospital. Fridays. In the id world we call it Red Only Friday. Don't change anything. If I see another engineer on the team do a deploy on Friday I set myself to do not disturb. We have informal Fridays, a high priority bug fixes only guideline. Enraged drivers. When someone follows you in traffic and or antagonizes you for whatever stupid reason, don't think you can handle it on your own and don't wait for them to leave you alone. Call the police and let them handle it. And for the love of all that is holy, don't do anything back to piss them off even more. Ladders. I worked in an ED at a major trauma center, and the number of otherwise healthy people who came in paralyzed or soon to be dead from falling off ladders was eye-opening. My ex's dad was a healthy and still very active man who was about to turn 70. And I mean healthy, lived in a house on a mountain and spent his mornings hiking trails the average person half his age would get winded by. He had literally just retired. He and his wife were about to head out on a long vacation, so he was shutting down the house and noticed a small leak in one of their bathroom ceiling. Decided to check it out himself. He fell off the ladder and basically ping-ponged his skull the whole way down. Instantly a vegetable. Stayed that way for 8 months before passing. This made me and X look up ladder injuries, and my takeaway is this: if you're not being paid to be on a ladder, pay someone to be on a ladder for you. Mandolines, the kitchen gadget's not instrument. They sell gloves to wear while using these that keep you from slicing your fingertips off. Really helpful. My health. Getting older, you rediscover all those old hurts. When I was 20 I hyperextended both elbows playing volleyball. 15 years later my elbows started aching in the winter. Also my teeth. It falls under health, but not everyone thinks about the dentist when they think about health. If you are reading this, please floss. It's a small thing that can make a huge difference later. Trust me. I have started flossing daily, late 30s, and every night I'm like, WTF, wasn't I doing this my whole life? The shit that comes out. Never trust a trench or a hole over your shoulders deep. You will die a horrible death. Yes, at the beach too. I think the rule is belly deep. Any higher and the dirt or whatever falling in can crush your lungs and make it impossible to breathe. Trusting people's blinkers to mean they are turning. My driver's ed teacher always said the only thing a blinker truly tells you is that the bulb is working. It stuck with me. Meth. Ruined my life for a while and I had to fight tooth and nail to get it back 18 months clean. For real. When you hear not to try meth, not even once, heed that warning. Same here. Congrats. It's still hard for me to shake the embarrassing things I did while high. Vibrating logs in the forest. Don't investigate. Don't kick it. Don't throw things at it. It is always hornets. Reminds me of the post that said something like, no matter how superstitious you aren't, you still shouldn't go near suspiciously clean bones in the forest because those bones may have been cleaned off by fire ants that decided to nest around the bones for more convenient access. Ticks. Lyme disease sucks, y'all. Ended up with bilateral Bell's palsy because of it and my joints scream at me like I'm a much older man. And X200B. And that not even the worst thing that ticks carry. Edit, a letter. Concerts. Ear protection is massively underestimated and the ear damage is permanent. The pancreas. Seriously. Do not fuck with the pancreas. Boulders covered with algae and mountain creeks do not equal water slides. Curious what the specific dangers of this are? Breaking bones? Cracking your head open? Drowning? Waves. Newbie body surfer, misjudged a 6-foot wave and nearly drowned. I was standing about waist deep at the beach, and a wave knocked me on my butt, pulled me out a little, and washed me back up. All I remember was sky and water. My friends thought a riptide got me. Head injuries. I had a single friend that got into a barroom scuffle. He got knocked down and hit his on a tiled floor. Got back up and said that's it for tonight. He lived alone and that was on a Friday night. When he didn't show for work on Monday with a no call, that raised some eyebrows. When he didn't show on Tuesday, someone went out to his place and broke in after no answer. He was dead on the kitchen floor. Doctor guessed a brain bleed. I think about him every time I see a video of someone getting knocked out. Edit, it's only been a couple of hours since I've posted this comment and I don't regret saying it, but I'm sorry for having dredged up so many sad stories. Movies and TV shows conditioned us to think fights are no big deal. They are actually super dangerous and shouldn't be entered into lightly. Aggressive drivers. Just let them go. Same, I learned that people like to drive while armed and they will pull it out for any little thing these days. Electricity. While working at a hydro dam I witnessed a main power line detach from the generator and arc across the floor for about 10 seconds, withering like a snake. It gouged melted a deep trench in solid concrete. Cows. Grew up on a cattle farm. They can run faster than you think and can hit you so hard that you fly out of your shoes. Dad had a bull, Buck, who thought he was a puppy. He loved Dad. Dad would go out into the field to check on the cows, and here would come Buck, bounding up, just so happy to see Dad. Understand, though, that while Buck was a small bull, he looked like a stereotypical cartoon bull. When a cow was in his way, he'd nudge it a little and knock it a few feet. Until one day he was walking with Dad and leaned over to rub him, like a cat. Knocked Dad over, maybe broke ribs, God knows what else, why don't I know? He didn't go to the doctor when he cut the tip of his finger off, just pulled the flap over and bandaged it. What makes you think he'd go to the doc for that? Dudes with cauliflower ears. I heard they make good wrestlers. Mental health. Take care of your emotional state, ladies and gents. Don't let go of yourself. It's never too late to get help. Living in misery actually isn't actually normal. Sometimes we just need a bit of help to get to a better place. The ocean or any body of water, really. Yeah man, I live in Michigan and wayy too many tourists do not realize what Lake Michigan is. The thing will kill ya in a moment's notice if ya aren't careful. Respect her. Always notice the Coast Guard's helicopter go over a whole load more during the Coast Guard festival. The HR frequent flyer. It doesn't matter if you didn't do anything wrong, they will still make your work life unbearably annoying if you dare upset them. You don't even have to upset them to get caught up in their crap. We had a guy consistently late to the point it affected his work, and our boss called him out on it. He went to HR saying the rest of us weren't held to a start time, which was true. We're all salaried and would roll in 8:35, 8:40, hang around the coffee machine and chit chat, but then we'd get our work done. Because of his lateness, we all had to be butts in seats at 8:30. Luckily I was already in the process of moving departments. Garage door springs. Pay a professional to mess with that shit. Dear Lord, that's terrifying. The tension on those things is immense. Cat bites. I love cats, but got bit by one once. Spent 3 days in the hospital and there were talks of amputating 2 of my fingers and maybe 1/2 of another finger. Had intense IV antibiotics and came out fine but was scary for a couple days. Animal bites in general. My sister is in physical therapy from a dog attack last month that left her hospitalized for a week from infection. I was so worried for her. Glad they didn't have to amputate any of your fingers. A falling KitchenAid mixer. Those damn things are heavy. How'd it even fall off the counter to begin with? Ours might as well be a lead weight when using it. Stairs. They are deadly as hell. Those motherfuckers will kill you. Use guardrails. My 68-year-old dad lives on the 3rd floor of an apartment complex and I am terrified he is going to fall. I have fallen down my stairs and my husband fell down while holding our newborn. Don't mess around going downstairs. The IRS. Even the Joker. https://yahoo.be/G56VGSLFKY4 does not F with the IRS. Bedbugs. You can't treat those motherfuckers by yourself. You need a professional to treat that shit. People always go on and on about mosquitoes being demons, but no, that's actually bedbugs. Bedbugs were created by Satan himself in the fiery pits of hell. Deleted. Totally. I am a nurse. Had a 45-year-old patient that fell 8 feet off his garage roof and never walked again. Then I had an 81-year-old patient that fell off her roof and came to the ER with a laceration on her head. We watched her for a while and discharged her that same night. You never know. Nap time. I teach swim lessons so I'm often with a toddler and preschool set. One of the first questions I ask now when arranging a meeting time is whether the kid still naps. Yes? Great. We're gonna avoid that time and like 30 minutes before and after it. Trust. As a parent of a 3-year-old, I make darn sure I don't sign my dude up for anything close to his nap time. That would be an awful experience. What parents don't think of that? His naps are the key to my sanity. Former high school wrestlers. Those who brag at how good they were at wrestling, did it for 4 years. They can be super rolled out of shape looking, but as soon as you start messing with them you're on your back and disabled. See a cauliflower ear, step away. You ever slide down a staircase on a pillow or a mattress? 10 Wyoming thought going down headfirst inside a sleeping bag was a great way to up the rush. Turns out, going into shock is not fun. Tried it once headfirst on a life-size cardboard advertising cutout of Pamela Stevenson. Staircase had a 90-degree corner in it. I really don't know what else I expected to happen. Medical screening. Get the mammogram annually. Get the colonoscopy on whatever schedule you are on. I missed my 2016 mammo. In 2017 I was fine. In 2018 I had breast cancer. Had I missed 2018 instead of 2016 I'd likely be dead now. Having allergies and very bad asthma. Can attest. Allergies trigger the asthma, and the asthma can end you quickly. Had a stretch years back where I was in the ER 14 times in 12 years, on one occasion twice in one day. 4 times on the drive there I started to panic and flail in the passenger seat, which didn't help the driver at all. One time, the ambulance was called. They gave me as much epinephrine as they were allowed to give, to try to bring me out of it. I had stopped breathing, and radioed the doctor for permission to give another dose. Doc okayed it, but said if that didn't do it to code me. Code means dead. Thankfully, it worked. Scary as hell to not be able to draw a breath and know you're on your way out. As an ER nurse the answer is meth. Hikes in the Arizona summer. I was one state over in New Mexico at White Sands and I didn't even attempt a hike. I saw zero shade and figured the view from 100 feet in was just as good as the view a mile in, so why risk it? I later found out a hiker died while I was there. Cactus. Listen guys, I know this seems like pure common sense, but some cacti have really pretty flowers that don't look harmless at all. Until you touch it. And then you have 1,000 microfiber pieces of glass embedded in your skin and there's no hope of getting it out and it's days of torture. Yes, I'm an idiot. Please learn from me. Student loans. Only take what you need. Don't get the "oh, I'll pay this later" attitude. It will come back to bite you, and the loan companies are relentless. No one teaches a 17-18 kid about student loans and long-term consequences. I can't agree with this hard enough. I remember being a teenager and getting my student loans and thinking they weren't giving me enough. Once I started paying them back, I realized they gave me too much. Excessive heat. If the temperatures are above 90, catch me inside. Any food that tastes slightly off at first bite. No matter what it is or how good it is, the food poisoning is not worth it. Never trust a fart when your belly's been talking. Fireworks. They're fun, but I've personally witnessed way too many things go wrong with them to feel safe doing shit with them myself. Deleted. Never mess with any power supply. The capacitors in there can hold a charge for a very long time and absolutely can electrocute you. People who have nothing to lose.